One of the most common questions that teachers receive is about reading, and generally parents are going to ask for quick tips. They want to know how they can teach their child to read, what is going to be most exciting, how can they demonstrate that reading is vital to life. So first, we want to be able to cultivate an interest in reading, and we could do this by getting to know the child. What are their interests? What do they like to do? What do they want to read? It would be very futile to put a piece of drama in front of a child that prefers science fiction. So get to know them. Use daily reading. Apply it some way in your life and show those children that you love to do it. Make sure that you choose an enjoyable topic and follow an entire series. Our family once chose the entire series on the Magic Tree House. They loved that one. So be sure that you follow something and that's something that they really enjoy. Try using technology. If they love technology, then use e-readers. Have books laying around your home everywhere, and be sure to tell them how much you enjoy reading. Don't forget that environmental print. Now remember, environmental print is products, restaurants, billboards, advertising. It is simply printed items in the environment. And these are visual cues, and they're going to help children to recognize words. And children feel successful in reading by recognizing words. For instance, point out individual letters in print and the sounds that they make, and teach them the M in McDonald's is the same as M in mining, in mommy, and make those correlation between those letters. Create a game with similar prints like Taco Bell, Toys R Us, Tricks, and then sort the environmental by type. For instance, throw out a bunch of signs and let them sort them according to food or street signs. You can even cut out environmental print and use them as flashcards. Learn ways and how to apply reading to your daily life. For instance, first of all, turn off the TV. Periodically, it is good just to turn it off and limit the time to the television. You can use video games creativity. Make sure that there are creative ways to use print in them. Make sure there's written words, and teach the children what it means instead of them getting into a rote habit of simply hitting the play button, which would be the one that begins with P. Make sure you read together, and especially at bedtime. Create a routine at bedtime where you are reading together, and that's the last thing that you do. How about shopping trips? Shopping trips with lists. Have them create the list, and when they're younger, you create it with environmental print. So if you're going to buy Cheerios, you've printed off a copy of or a little picture icon of the Cheerio box so the child knows exactly what you're buying. You can also schedule reading times. This is very important. In our home, we did what we called quiet time. Every afternoon was reading time. And maybe that was an hour or 2 hours. It depended on the schedule of the day, but make sure that you schedule it in daily. You can also apply reading to your life by using the library. And many people tend to think that that is outdated, but still get over there and look through the library and have your children introduced to the online library by the librarian. Be sure to point out written words, especially as you read, and write notes to each other. You can start simple. You can use pictures in the beginning and then make them longer. Use the U.S. mail. It's so antiquated, but your child is going to love going to the mailbox and getting an actual letter from somebody. And you could involve those long-distance relatives, like maybe your grandparents. Use that environmental print again. Don't forget that. That is highly important. So some other tips. So when reading and teaching reading, try pointing to the words as you read. And be sure that you always have something to read with you so that your children can see that you have that with you. Now, if you're going to make that digital, make sure that you put your e-reader on that very first page of your smartphone or whatever so that your children can constantly see it. And that if you're sitting somewhere, pop open that e-reader so they can see that you're there. Reread the favorite books. Play word games. Have you ever tried doing the alphabet game from license plates? Try that with your child. They'll love that. Encourage the children to predict what's going to come next in their book as they're reading. Remember to be patient. That's probably the biggest thing. And exaggerate the sounds as you read. You want to make connections between sounds and the written letters, and be sure to point out any print as it comes along.